Kasi kung hindi nyo to aralin ngayon, mahihirapan kayo sa second year. Okay? Or even now, it's a cardiovascular. Sa cardiovascular, sa neuro, sa GIT, di ba? May mga sympathetic, parasympathetic involved doon eh. Sa respi, di ba? Sa bronchioles, meron din. So, ito yung topic na dapat alam nyo. Na hindi nyo, kahit lumabas man to or hindi, dapat alam nyo siya. Kasi, importante siya for second year. It's a must know. So, in DRS, you would see this. I have no time to discuss this table. You can read this on your own. And then, number 8, which of the following is a physiologic response to the activation of your sympathetic nervous system? Bronchodilation, detrusor muscle contraction, gallbladder contraction, penile erection, and the answer here is letter A, which I think, titignan ko kung maraming sumagot ng tama. Yeah, okay, good, 68%. Okay, so, yun. So, bronchodilation. So, also, we emphasize this. Alam niyo dapat ang actions ng sympa at para in different organs at anong receptor involved. Okay, anong receptor involved? It's a must know, especially when you go second year. Aralin niyo siya as early as now. Huwag kayong umalis ng first year na hindi alam ito. Okay? Na hindi niyo alam ito. Maniwala kayo sa amin na dapat you have to know this. Kahit yung mga important like heart. Actually, ito. Kahit ito lang. Ito, nandito na to. Kasi sila talaga yung mga usual na involved in parasympathetic and sympathetic. Ano pa bang gusto kong sabihin here? Yeah, the receptor involved like B1, B2, mga ganyan. No, pwede naman kasi balik na rin yung questions eh. Ayusin namin questions like, which receptor is involved in decreasing the heart rate? Choices, beta 1, beta 2, alpha 1, or M1, M2. See? Kailangan alam nyo yung sagot. Okay? I think another part of that. So that's the end of your end of the first LE. So far, check mo yung first 8 items. Kamusta ka? Kung 0 ka out of 8, you have to go back again in the first LE. You have to review again those must-knows that was discussed. Again, hindi porket ito yung discuss ni Dr. Tan ngayon, ito yung mga posibleng lumabas sa exam. No, I'm not saying that. Hindi ko alam yung mga lalabas sa exam, hindi ko pa nakita yung mga questions. Okay, wala ako, hindi ko alam. So, except sa mga part ko. Pero hindi ko nakita yung mga ibang questions. So, unbiased. Pero ito yung mga questions na I think must know. Usually na tinatanong. At the same time, very important in your practice as a doctor and very important when you go to second year, third year. Kaya ako siya nilagay here. Now, let's go to the second LE, to the RBC question. So, in number 9, in a patient with hypoxia, which event is expected to occur as a part of the compensatory response? So, di ko nababasahin, napakahaba yung tanong. Wow, I'm happy. Dr. Kakas will be happy. 86% got it correctly. So, letter C is the answer. No? You know that EPO is produced in the kidney, not in the liver, not in the bone marrow. And this EPO will go to the bone marrow to activate the erythropoiesis. And the most important trigger for EPO secretion is hypoxia. That's the most important trigger. Okay, of course, erythropoietin will not promote maturation of your lymphoid lineage. It will promote the erythrocytic cells, okay, or erythroblastic cells to mature to become your red blood cells. Of course, letter B, that will happen in bone marrow, no, hindi sa kidney. And HIF1 will increase. So, I think ang important here are the trigger, saan napupulos ang EPO, yung erythrocytic series. Don't forget hemoglobin as well. Okay, yung characteristic ng hemoglobin. And don't forget, ito siguro pakita ko lang, yung red blood cell production during the prenatal stages and during the postnatal stage. So, the first trimester, yolk sac, second trimester, liver, third trimester, bone marrow, and then that's already until you die. Now, also important, the hemoglobin oxygen dissociation curve. Shift to the left, shift to the right. Okay, tatakal pa natin siya mamaya sa recipe. But alam nyo dapat yung difference ng left and right. No, yung kabet, do the right thing, let go. Okay, carbon dioxide, acidosis, PPG or DPG, pwede rin, elevated temperature, or elevated area and high temperature. Those things, no, if high or acidosis, shift to the right, letting go of your oxygen. Shift to the left, more of, clingy sa oxygen. Ayaw nila pakawalan si oxygen. Review lang ng RBC destruction. Sige, move na tayo. Now, let's talk to the hemostasis. Now, which of the following best describes the start of common pathway during the blood coagulation cascade? Is it A, is it B, is it C, or letter D? So, 53% got it correctly. Okay, pwede na. Good, good. Magandang result na yun. Yung mga hindi pa sumasagot, wag yung munang sagutin ngayon. Wag yung madaliin sumagot ngayon. Gusto ko sagutin nyo siya on your own time if you want to. The answer here, you will see A and B are almost the same. So usually sa exam, pag nakita mo, usually not saying all the time, nakita mo two choices are the same, most likely one of them is the correct answer. So the correct answer is letter B kasi the word A makes it correct. Yung word letter A, activated ang kailangan natin to describe the start of your common pathway. Okay? Kung nasagot mo na, sige, sagutin mo na. So, yung letter C, conversion of prothrombin to thrombin, that will be the responsibility of your prothrombin activator. So, yung prothrombin activator, activate niya yung letter C. Tapos, si letter C, thrombin will activate your fibrinogen to fibrin. Okay? So, I think ang gusto ko lang here ipakita sa lecture ni Dr. Mafi is intrinsic, extrinsic, saan sila mag-meet, and then ano yung pathway until sa tulo. Aside from that, yung different components of the hemostasis. Like in the primary hemostasis, we talk of the vasoconstriction and the steps in platelet plug formation. Adhesion, activation, aggregation, and then ano yung mga corresponding molecule involved. Then in the secondary hemostasis, the clotting factor mechanism. And then in the tertiary hemostasis, sabi nila, or the fibrinolysis, kailangan importante mag-cleave yung clot. Ano yung pathway, ano yung enzyme responsible for cleaving or for dissolution of your clot, and that will be your plasmin. Ano yung that will activate your plasmin or your plasminogen? So, may mga factors din sila. Okay. Now, we go to the immunology or the WBC and immunology. 25-year-old man has a 1-week history of runny nose with fever. He was diagnosed to have systemic viral infection. Which type of WBC is expectedly to increase? So, ito, dapat giveaway to. Sa amin, MPL1 to. Okay, MPL1 to. And the answer is lymphocyte virus. Pag parasitic, ano answer? Okay. Pag bacteria, acute bacterial infection, okay. Alam niyo dapat yan, ha? Hindi na namin, MPL1 na yan. Pag ganyan, pag may ganyan, MPL1 na yan. No? Hindi pwedeng magkamali sa mga ganyang question. Kasi, must know niya to. Saka, dadalhin niyo to sa second year and third year. Don't forget complement pathway. Okay? Okay. Sige, ito, immunology. Okay. Which event demonstrate a naturally acquired active immunity? Which event demonstrate a naturally acquired active immunity? So, you recall in the lecture of Dr. Bartolome, there's a naturally acquired active, there's a naturally acquired passive, there's a artificially acquired active, and there's artificially acquired passive. So, pag sinabi natin naturally, natural phenomena, nagkasakit, or through natural means, okay? Pag artificially, usually may in-inject. Or whether intramuscular, subcutaneous, may in-inject, or IV. Okay. So, naturally, okay, sa apat na choices, so A, contracting chickenpox, okay, B, polio vaccine, C, passing IgG through placenta, D, rabies IG given to a patient. So, the answer is letter A. Okay. Kasi naturally naman, letter A, ang naturally acquired dito, yung letter A and letter C. Ang difference nila, yung A, the virus itself caused the immune response. Kaya siya active. No, active means na nagkaroon ng immune response. The antigen causing the antibody formation. Yung passive, binibigyan ka na ng immunoglobulin. So letter C, that's a naturally acquired kasi through pregnancy. That's natural means. And passive kasi the IgG is already formed. The immunoglobulin is already formed and passed through you. Yung letter B, that's your artificially acquired active. Yung letter D, that's your artificially acquired passive. Okay? So, Yeah, maganda pala. 84% got it naman pala. Okay. Ang point ko here, pwede rin palitan ni Dr. Bartolome kung ito man itatanong niya. Di ba? So, hindi nyo pwedeng memorize yung answer. So, know the difference between humoral and cell-mediated. Again, we love to compare and contrast. Yung questions that compare and contrast. Like, which statement correctly describe about cell-mediated? Something good. Or, which statement, basta ganun. Okay, alam mo na yun. You also have to know the difference between a primary response versus a secondary response. Like, in primary response, there's a longer lag time. It takes longer lag time. Ano pa ba? Mas mababa yung peak niya. Mas unang nagpo-form ng IgM bago IgG. Okay? Unlike in secondary response, short yung lag time, mas mabilis yung peak, mas matagal yung plateau, mas mabilis mag-produce yung B cells mo, memory B cells mo ng immunoglobulin, especially your IgG. Okay, that's the end of your blood physiology. Please, no? Okay. Now, let's go to the recipe. Okay, nakita ko yung mga answer sa recipe. I think dito na marami nahihirapan sa recipe. If I just scan on your answers. Okay. Sige. Sa recipe, at the end of inhalation with an open glottis, the intrapleural pressure is blank. Now, in your lungs, you have your intraalveolar pressure and you have your intrapleural pressure. You have to know the difference between the two. Okay. Your intrapleural pressure is always negative yan. So, actually, the answer is letter C, less than alveolar. Kasi kailangan ko pakita yung picture. So, here in this picture, you have this one, your intraalveolar, inside the alveoli. This one is your intrapleural, inside the pleural space. It's always negative. Kaya siya yung -3 to -6 yung range niya. It's always below 0. Okay, pag naging positive yan, magkakaroon ka ng pneumothorax. So, yeah. Now, during inhalation, or at the end of inhalation here, at point na yan, you would see that intraalveolar is already 0. Intraalveolar is 0, while intrapleural is -5.5. So definitely, it's less than alveolar pressure. It's not greater than atmospheric pressure. Atmospheric pressure is basically the pressure here sa environment mo, yung atmosphere. So usually atmospheric pressure, barometric pressure, 1 BPM, or correspond in this graph, this corresponds to the 0. Okay. Now, at the end of inhalation, it's not equal to atmospheric pressure kasi it is the intraalveolar or alveolar pressure is the one that is 0. Siya yung equal to atmospheric pressure at the end of your inhalation and at the end of your exhalation. Ito. So, hindi siya letter D. Definitely hindi. Okay? So, yun siya. Yung transmural pressure mo is basically the difference between your alveolar and intrapleural pressure. Na hindi pwedeng laging 0. Kundi, kung 0 yan, yung lungs mo collapse. Surfactant. The role of surfactant in the lungs is what? Break bonds between water molecule, facilitate transudation of fluid to alveoli, increase alveolar collapsing pressure, lower compliance of alveoli. So surfactant is very important. This was discussed by Dr. Matmat sa media. So the answer here is actually letter A. Break bonds between water molecules. It keeps somehow your alveoli a little bit dry, no? Kasi pag basa ang lungs mo, okay, pag lungs mo basa, maghirap mag-diffuse yung gas, di ba? Kasi basa siya. At the same time, the water molecules are strong molecules that attract another water molecule. So it will allow the collapse of the lungs. Kaya nga in neonates na preterm, na wala pang masyadong surfactant, di ba, yung sasabi nila na hyaline membrane disease, ang itsura ng lungs nila basa. There's a lot of proteins. That's why in X-ray, ang puti-puti because of the mukhang hyaline yung itsura sa X-ray. Because of the water molecule, proteins, kasi nga basa. Surfactants will allow it to dry, allow it to open up your lungs, it allow increase compliance, it decreases the collapsing pressure. So yan. So bakit water molecules are strong attractant to each other? Imagine ito, naghuhugas kayo ng pinggan. Pinagtabi-tabi nyo, pinagpatong-patong yung mga basang pinggan. Diba? Pile them up. Basa sila. Anong different? Anong mangyayari? It's very difficult to separate them from each other. Kasi nga basa sila eh. Because water molecules are strong. Diba? So surfactants, what they do is that they remove the bonds in those water molecules so that, so hindi mahirap. Yung collapsing pressure hindi mataas. So here what they will do is you would see that the surfactant will decrease the pressure, decrease the tension, decrease the pressure, so it is easy compliant. 15. If severe lung fibrosis makes it difficult to expand the lungs, which of the following would be observed? In severe lung fibrosis, okay, difficulty to expand the lungs, which of the following would be observed? So, reduced FVC, high FEV1, FVC ratio less than 0.4. All of the above. Hindi porket may all of the above dyan, may, hindi porket all of the above dyan, ay, yun yung answer, no? Sometimes, no, isa sa mga naaral natin sa test machine, pag may all of the above, yan yung answer. No. Doesn't work that way all the time. Lalo na ako lagi ako nilalagay ng all of the above, pero hindi yun yung answer ko. So you have to be careful. You have to still to assess this one. So the answer is letter A. Reduce FVC. If you compare this picture, no, you would see lung fibrosis is actually a restrictive lung disease. So you would see here that the FVC is really low. Okay, that allows it. Compared with the normal, that's why letter A is the answer. Tingnan ko lang yung mga answer niya. Okay. Okay lang naman pala. Sorry, babalik lang ako dito. Marami kasi sumagot nito. Dito, letter A, maraming sumagot. Greater than atmospheric pressure. Again, hindi pwede, no? Kasi kung greater than atmospheric pressure intrapleural, patient will have pneumothorax. Patay tayo dyan, no? Hindi pwede. Okay. Ito, maraming sumagot ng pantay-pantay sila. Okay. So, ito, letter B, more of surfactant facilitate transudation of fluid from alveoli to the interstitial space. To make it correct in letter B, no? So, hindi siya. Yan. Letter C, decrease. Letter D, increase. Sorry alam ko kasi, I think recipe is one of the nahirapan kayo. May nagtanong dito, Doc, does it matter, would it really matter if the glottis was open or not? Well, actually, not really. Intrapleural is always negative. Wait lang, kasi may picture ako dyan eh. Wait lang. Hindi na, lumabas ang picture ko. Wait lang ha. Yan. So, yan. Basically. Okay? So, intrapleural is always negative. So, yeah, it doesn't matter yung open glottis niya. Pampagulo siya, kumbaga. Tama. Pero, syempre, magiging matter yan if I'm asking for the intraalveoli or intraalveolar. So, with an open glottis, the intraalveolar pressure is letter B. Yun, magmamatter na yun. Okay? Okay, sige. For 14, does surfactant literally break the bonds of lipid molecules? Just insert it still. It's a picture. If you see the picture here, yan, no? Surfactant molecules interpose themselves between water molecule and reduces the surface tension. So parang, hindi niya i-break yung bond ng water molecule. Okay? They will just, nakaharang siya sa mga water molecule. So yung mga water molecule, they will not attract each other. There will less interaction of the water molecule to each other. Basically, ganun. Think of it, di ba? Water molecule, like I said, water molecule have a strong attraction to each other. That's why pag sa salamin, window, you have a very small droplet on top of the window. Pero habang bumababa siya, di ba, pag umuulan, titingnan siya, pag bumababa yung water droplet, ano napapansin nyo? Lumalaki siya kasi they attract the different small water molecule. Surfactant prevents that from happening, na yung mga water molecule mag-combine sa isa't isa. Dito, maraming contention. Sige, 15. If severe lung fibrosis makes it difficult to expand the lungs, which of the following would be observed? So definitely letter A is correct. Okay, reduce talaga yung FVC. Definitely letter B is not correct. You will not have a high FEV1. Okay, normal FEV1 can happen. Slight decrease pwede, pero definitely not high FEV1. Okay. Letter C, bakit hindi 0.4? Kasi mababa yung FVC mo. Kung sobrang baba ng FVC mo, ano mangyayari sa ratio? Tataas, bababa?
Tataas.
Tataas. So, hindi pwedeng letter C yung answer. Diba? Kaya hindi all of the above yung answer. So, kaya the FEV1, FVC ratio is not less than 0.4. It is more than 0.8 or pwedeng mataas siya. Basically, normal to increase siya. Basically. That's why letter A is the answer here. Okay? Yung mga sa conference, remember the bottle. Normal is normal jug, water jug. A patient with asthma, maliit yung butas ng water jug mo. Yung patient na may restrictive, yun yung water jug mo, maliit na lang, no? Parang alcohol bottle na lang siya. Okay? Ganun. Sige. Let's move. Okay? Sige. Number 16. Ito nga. The oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve will. Okay. Here, usually, may questions namin, di ba? Yung parang may scenario kami. Patient have hypoxia. What will happen to the oxygen dissociation curve? Ang ginawa namin here is, ayan, na parang each statement has its own parang, situation. So, kaya kailangan alam mo nang yan. So, shift to the left when tissue pH goes down. So, pH goes down, acidosis. Pag acidosis, shift to the left, shift to the right. Shift to the right. So, hindi pwedeng answer A. Letter B, shift to the left when the tissue metabolism increases. So, when there's a tissue metabolism occur, Krebs cycle, what will happen to the CO2? Goes up. pH goes down. So, shift to the left, shift to the right. Shift to the right. Letter C, shift to the right when with high fetal hemoglobin level. So, fetal hemoglobin is always shift to the left. So, letter C is wrong as well. So, the answer is letter D. Shift to the right with increased glycolysis in cells. So, increased glycolysis in cells, that's metabolism. Because of that metabolism, pH goes down, CO2 goes up, probably, I forgot biochem, no, Kasinto, tulungan mo ko kung kaya, kung, basta metabolism yan. You can ask Doc Jacinto if you want. Then shift to the right siya. Basta metabolism siya. Yun na yun. Okay? Okay. Sige. Marami ba nagkamali dito? Hindi. Okay naman pala. Okay. So, ayan na. Kapit to the right thing. So, now, ito. In RESP 2, I think this is in RESP 2, no, by Dr. Abare. What are the possible partial pressure of gas in the right medial basal segment if its terminal bronchial is obstructed? Sorry, balik ako dito. Sabi ni Doc Jacinto, for everyone pala yun, increase BPG kasi sa glycolysis. So, tumaas yung BPG, and BPG, as you would see here, shift to the right. Ako inisip ko metabolism lang. Okay. So here, if there's a terminal bronchial obstruction, what will happen? Which of the statement is correct? So yung mga table, you have to know yung mga columns. So yung A na yan, yung capital A na yan, it refers to the alveoli. Okay, the oxygen pressure in the alveoli. Air, oxygen pressure, or carbon dioxide pressure in the alveoli. Yung A, arterial. Okay, yung small a, arterial yan. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng mga yan. Pag V, venous, syempre. So, pag may obstruction, so meron kang lungs or bronchial, obstructed siya, may dadaan ba na hangin? Diba? May dadaan ba na hangin doon? Siyempre, wala. So kung walang hangin na daan dyan, anong mangyayari sa alveoli? Walang gas. So the answer here is already letter A. Doon pa lang. And because walang gas, ang mangyayari doon sa pulmonary artery mo, pag dumaan na siya sa alveoli na yun, walang gas exchange. So the arterial in the pulmonary artery, no, in that area is still 40. Kasi walang gas exchange. Diba normally dapat 100 siya kasi may gas exchange. The 100 in the alveoli will now go to the arterial to make it 100. Eh wala nga kasi nga obstructed Sa carbon dioxide, dahil nga 46 siya, usually goes out siya para maging 40 siya. Eh wala nga wala nga gas exchange. So 46 pa rin siya. Kaya siya letter A. But on the other hand, if I change this, if a pulmonary artery has an embolism or embolus obstructing the blood flow in a well-ventilated alveoli, ano yung correct answer? So now, the alveoli may gas. So you would expect that the alveoli oxygen there is 100, 104. The carbon dioxide may be 40. Pero, 0 yung artery kasi walang blood flow 0 din yung CO2 sa artery. Okay? So, ito yun So, in obstruction, that's shunt. Okay? You have to know already that every obstruction is shunt. So, A is 0. Alveoli is 0. 0 dito. Pero sa artery, meron pa ring blood flow. So, 40 and 46. Pulmonary dead space or pulmonary embolus or dead space, like that. 0 nga sa CO2 Yung pangamali ko 150, tas 0 yung CO2 kasi nga walang gas exchange. Okay, walang CO2 from the blood vessel goes out to the alveoli. Okay, but normally, ito siya. Okay, normally yan siya. Okay, actually, pwede ito yung anatomy question no? Diba? Sa anatomy, chicha-corn. Pag nakatayo at nabulunan, bakit lagi sa right nag-co-obstruct?
Because
Shorter and wider.
So, bakit ko siya pinapoint? Pag nakahiga, anong bronchial or anong bronchopulmonary segment ang affected pag nakahiga? Nakalimutan ko na. Pag bata, anong bronchopulmonary segment ang affected? So, tinanong ko siya, hindi dahil anatomy to, it's more of in ana infusion. When you study, studies have shown that pag you integrate ana and fission in a question like this, the learning increases. Mas nagiging maalala mo yung mga inaaral. Mas nagiging tumataas yung learning curve nyo. So, kaya, as much as possible, in any question, kahit fission question or anatomy question yan, kung kaya mo dagdagan ng fission concepts, it will help you big time. Anyway, sige. Which condition will decrease the pulmonary vascular resistance? And the answer here is your increased perfusion pressure. Okay, increased perfusion pressure. Let's go back. Bakit, no? Maraming sumagot ng low. Remember, in letter B, extended expiratory respiratory phase, no? Ang nangyari dyan is, there's already less transmural pressure. So, minsan pa nga sa sobrang taas, sa sobrang expiration, okay, nagko-collapse na yung mga blood vessel, tumataas yung vascular resistance. In letter C, low alveolar oxygen tension, remember the term hypoxic vasoconstriction? Diba? Hypoxia will cause vasodilation in most of the capillaries except pulmonary vessel. Kasi sa pulmonary vessel, pag mababa ang oxygen, magkakaroon ng magkakaroon ng vasoconstriction. Tandaan nyo yan. Most of the capillaries, muscle, heart, probably brain, kidney, GIT, hypoxia causes vasodilate. But in the lungs, it is vasoconstrictor. Kaya letter C is not the correct, which majority of you answered it actually. Okay? Endothelin is a vasoconstrictor, so hindi siya. So it's letter A talaga, increased perfusion pressure. No? Kasi nga, better blood flow. If there's increasing perfusion pressure, there's more blood flow leading to decreased pulmonary vascular resistance. Naalala niyo yung formula na discuss ni Dr. Castillo, yung flow equals delta P over R. Okay? So, Anyway. Last question, I think, in the recipe. A patient with history of anxiety disorder was brought to the ER because of dyspnea, dizziness, and secondary panic attack while trapped inside the elevator. What can be expected on her arterial blood gases? So, ano nangyari? Panic attack. Okay. Patient with panic attack, what will happen to the respiratory rate? Happen to the respiratory rate? It increase. So, what will happen to the CO2? It will decrease. So, letter B is the answer. Okay? Point here are in the ito discuss ni Dr. Patak, yung different centers, okay, in the brain that is responsible for breathing. Found in medulla, the DRG, the dorsal respiratory group, in the medulla. Okay, then you have your it's always the receptor, the central receptor and the peripheral receptors. Okay, you have to know which activates which. Question ko yun sa other hormones. Endothelial not always vasoconstrictor. Dilator position sa pulmonary circulation. Oh yeah. Okay, sige. Anyway, let's go to the cardiovascular. And then after cardiovascular, let's have a break. It's 8:59. Okay. Now, sorry. So again, so far, how's your score in the recipe? Compare mo. Okay ba? Hindi. So, alam nyo kung saan kayo babalik. Okay? Kung saan nyo kailangan mag-aral pa. Basically. So, yeah, that's why the purpose of this review is not just, to give answer. It's to reflect. Okay. Okay. Now, alam ko saan ako nahihirapan. 20. In ventricular myocytes, okay, which action potential phase is mainly affected by calcium channel blocker. So remember, in the cardiac action potential, there are two types of action potential. You have your fast response action potential, and you have your slow response action potential. Ano ang action potential na ini-exhibit ng ventricular myocytes? Is it fast acting or slow? A fast response or slow response? Fast response. And fast response, you have phase 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, sino doon yung affected by calcium channel? Basically, sino doon sa limang yon yung calcium channel opens up? Phase 2. Ay, nalagay ko na pala. Napindot ko. Phase 2. Picture ba ko? Yeah, no? See? This is your fast response. So, the plateau phase, that's your phase 2 and that's your calcium channel. Si phase 0, that's your sodium channel. Si phase 1, ano nangyayari dyan? Si phase 2, ano nangyayari? Si phase 3, ano nangyayari? Si phase 4, ano nangyayari? Review nyo siya. Okay. In relation with that, again, we love to ask compare and contrast type of question. To differentiate from slow response fibers, the action potential of the fast response fibers has greater amplitude, less negative RMP, no refractory period, no phase 1 and phase 2. So, ano daw yung totoo or true sa fast response? Okay, definitely, pinakita ko pa lang dito, meron siyang 1 and 2. So, hindi siya yung answer, yung letter D. Meron siyang refractory period to phase 3 here, no? So, hindi siya yung answer. A and B, greater amplitude, less negative RMP. The answer is letter A, greater amplitude. If you compare these two, so you would see that the amplitude of your fast response is really high, while here, mas mababa. Second, yung RMP, take a look. The RMP for the fast response is negative 90. While the RMP for the slow response or pacemaker potential is negative 70. So that's why letter A is the correct answer here. So ang key here is you have to compare and contrast the fast response and the slow response. What are the phases in fast response? What are the phases in slow response? What are the structures? Basically, most of the structure in the heart, fast response sila, except for two, SA node, AV node. Silang dalawa lang ang nagpapakita ng pacemaker potential. Si Purkinje fiber, si bundle branches, fast response sila. Si atrial muscle, si ventricular muscle, fast response sila. Dami pala nagkamali dito sa number 21. Marami nagkamali dito, So, you need to know the difference between these two. Hindi lang the characteristic. You have to know the channels involved. Iba ang channel sa phase 0 ng fast response sa channel sa phase 0 ng slow response. Magkaiba. Kaya you have to know. It's a must know. Isa to sa mga must know. Especially when you go to pharma, certain drug inhibits phase 2, phase 3, phase 1 of the fast response. Certain drug affects your slow response. Oh, yeah. Nakita niya si Doc Kakas. She said it. Okay? Di ko alam kung ano talaga yung lalabas. Now, this one, it's applying, no? Which, or not really applying, remembering to, which leads used to identify the injury or ischemia to the lateral wall of the heart. So, basically, sa ECG, ano yung leads that corresponds or represents your lateral wall of the heart? Okay? A, B, C, or D? 49% got it naman. Lead 1 and APL, no? Lead 1 and APL. Ano ang leads na ginagamit natin to find out if may axis deviation or ano yung axis ng heart? Okay, 1 and APF. Okay? Hindi ko na binigay yung question yung papa-interpret ko ECG kasi inaral nyo siya sa OSPE. Pero it most likely daw, you have to still to study that. No? Kasi nga, kaya nga, kung inaral mo ng maayos yung OSPE, especially the ECG part, I think kaya mo sa finals, yung ECG part. Kung yun yung tatanungin nito, Kakas. The point is, hindi ko siya nilagay dito kasi redundant na. Inaral niya siya. So, nag-isip ako ng ibang tanong. Kaya, ito siya. Another is, kung palitan ko lateral wall, gawin kong inferior wall, what will be your answer? Okay. What will be your answer if anteroseptal? Okay. Anteroseptal will be your V1 to V4, no? Anteroseptal anterior part. Now, i-apply mo siya sa anatomy. Ano ang blood supply sa lateral wall ng heart? Bakit ko siya tinidiscuss to, no? May reason behind it. Ano ang blood vessel sa lateral wall ng heart? Ala. Ano ang first exam nyo, di ba? What is the blood vessel supplies the lateral wall of your heart? Walang makasagot, ha? Anterior na lang. Anterior na lang. Sige, anterior na lang. Yun mas madali eh. LAD. Okay, left anterior descending. Lateral, usually left circumflex, no? Branches of your left circumflex. So, my point here is that if in the ECG, you see abnormal ST changes in the V1, V2, V3, V4, and V1, V2, V3, V4 represents the anterior septal of the heart, you know that probably there's a problem in the left anterior descending artery. If there's a problem in the ECG ST wave changes in the lead 1 and AVL, as well as V5, V6, you know there's a problem in the left circumflex artery. So, pansin nyo yung connection ng fissure and anatomy. Ganun siya. Kaya hindi nyo pwede siya ihiwalay. That's why when you study, ganun. That's why it makes the study more interesting. It allows you to be motivated, I think so. So, yun. Now, basically, you have to know ano ibig ng P-wave, PR interval, QRS, QT, ST, T-wave. It's your own responsibility to know this one. Okay? 23. Okay, mechanical properties na tayo ng heart. Favorite namin yung cardiac cycle. In the cardiac cycle, the highest decrease in the intraventricular pressure occurs during the... So, these are the different phases. I observed that I think most of you does not know the phases of cardiac cycle. So if you don't know the phases of cardiac cycle, you have to know the phases of the cardiac cycle. Atrial contraction, isovolumetric contraction, rapid and reduced ventricular ejection, isovolumetric relaxation, rapid and reduced ventricular feeding. You have to know the phases. At ano ang nangyayari sa each phase? It's one of the must know. Okay? So, sino yung rapid decrease? So, obviously, relaxation. Pag relaxation, laging decrease. Pag contraction and ejection, usually tumataas siya. Mataas. Okay. Pakita ko to. So this is your Wigger's diagram. It's the favorite of Dr. Jacinto. So, sabi ko, largest decrease. Ayan, no? And this is the one I'm talking about. And this happens in your isovolumetric relaxation. Pag sinabi ko, highest increase. Ayan. Isovolumetric contraction. Pag sinabi ko, the highest pressure. in the ventricle occurs during which phase of the cardiac cycle? Ayan, nandito siya sa ventricular ejection. Probably rapid ejection. Ayan, no, must know yan. Oh. Pag sinabi kong which will increase your volume in the ventricle by 10%. Okay, volume, tingin ka sa volume. Ito yung volume mo. Increase by 10%. Ito, atrial systole. Kung tinanong ni Doc Jacinto, P-wave occurs during which phase of the cardiac cycle? So, ito yung P-wave mo, it happens not in the atrial systole, kasi atrial systole, nandito siya, but happens before the atrial systole. So, the reduced ventricular feeding, probably. Okay? So, ganoon. Memorize nyo to. Okay. So, kung hindi lang yun, no, sa lecture sa mechanical, maraming graph. Kailangan alam nyo yung mga graph eh. Mahilig kami sa graph. Huwag kayo magulat kung may graph na naman, no? That's why you have to know the graph. This graph is the PV loop, no? The pressure volume loop. Below is pointing which event of the cardiac cycle. You can see this, no? So you have to interpret the graph, no? We love graphs. So, ito, ano to? Is it isovolumetric contraction, ejection phase, isovolumetric relaxation, ventricular feeding? So, you would see here, the y-axis represents the pressure, the x-axis represents the volume. So, you would see there's a change in volume. There's increase in volume, but the pressure is minimal. Okay, minimal increase in pressure. Minimal, ha? So, nangyayari to during what? Ejection or feeding? Obviously, feeding. So, tanggal si contraction, tanggal si ejection, letter C and D ka dyan. Pag isovolumetric relaxation, will there be a change in volume? No. Pero here in this graph, you would see that this line, there's a change in volume. Umaangat siya from 3, 4, 5, 6. Letter D is the answer. Favorite din ni Doc Jacinto. Again, di ko alam kung anong tatanong nila. Marami pa lang tama. Don't worry, Doc Jacinto, marami naman tama dito. Good. Pag ito, this is your isovolumetric contraction. This is your this is your ejection. This is your isovolumetric relaxation. Okay? Yeah. Ayan. Nalagay ko na yan. It's a must know. Ngayon, paano kung papalitan ko yung graph? Babago-baguhin ko katulad netong graph na to. Okay. So, which PV loop changes are caused by changes in the aortic pressure? Okay. So, pindot ko na. So, this tree represents preload, afterload, and inotropy. Okay. Aortic pressure is affected. Changes in aortic pressure will affect your preload, afterload, or inotropy. Afterload. So, and then afterload, the afterload, among the three figures here, afterload represents letter P. So, pressure. They're more of affecting the pressure. At the same time, the ESV is also increased, no? Sorry, babalik ako dito. Take a look. Ang ESV mo, ito. Diba? Sa number 3, ESV. Ano nangyayari sa ESV dito? Yung ito yung control. Ano nangyayari sa ESV pag tumaas yung afterload? Nandito. ESV is your end systolic volume. So, tumaas yung end systolic volume. Okay? So, sa afterload, tumataas ang ESV. Sa contractility or inotropy, bumababa ang ESV. Okay? Stroke volume is basically the width of the graph. So, sa B, ano nangyayari sa B? Because of an increased afterload, the stroke volume decreases. Okay? So, inversely yung ESV saka stroke volume. So, kung tumaas ang ESV, bababa ang stroke volume. So, here, tumaas ang ESV, stroke volume decreases kasi pumayat siya. Here, bumaba ang ESV, so, tumaba siya, the stroke volume increases in a positive inotropy. Okay? Preload, on the other hand, is letter A. Sa preload, hindi nagbabago ang ESV. Ang nagbabago ay EDV, the end diastolic volume, which is here. Ito yung opposite. Okay? So, yeah. Ay, ako tumas kamay. Hello? Ay, bababa ko lang yung kamay ko. Hindi ko alam paano ko bababain. Anyways. Okay. Ayan. So, you have to know the preload, afterload, contractility. Reaction. Okay. Ayan, lower hand. Okay. So now let's go to the vascular physiology. Okay, which of the following will decrease the cardiac output? Remember in the lecture of Dr. Castillo, sabi niya, flow equals delta P over R. Flow represents your cardiac output. R represents your TPR. Delta P represents your mean arterial pressure. So if we increase the arteriolar diameter, okay, what will happen to the resistance? Bababa. What will happen to the flow? Tataas. Eh, ano bang hinihingi natin? Decrease cardiac output. So hindi yung answer. X. Letter B, increase systemic vascular resistance. So purahin natin yung iba. Purahin natin. So kung tinaas natin ang vascular resistance, ano mangyayari sa flow? Pataas ang denominator, bababa ang flow. Tama ba? Oo, tama. So, ito possible answer. Pero tingnan mo natin, letter C, CVP is your, it's basically the end pressure. So, yung delta P na yan, actually, it's MAP minus CVP. So, kung lalong binaba mo yung CVP, okay, yung ito, okay, yung final pressure, tataas yung delta P, tataas yung flow. So, hindi rin siya yung answer. Yung D, the decreased aortic pressure, basically, ito rin siya. Kung binaba mo yung pressure, the aortic pressure, bababa mo yung afterload, tataas yung stroke volume, tataas yung cardiac output. So, hindi rin siya. So, letter B is the answer. Okay? So, basically, formula-based siya. Yeah. Ibang tama dito? Marami naman. Oh. Marami din tama kanina no, sa inotropy, afterload. That's good. Okay. Now, 27. What would decrease pulse pressure? Okay. So, how do you get your pulse pressure?
SBP minus DP.
Okay, SPP minus BP. So, 120 minus 80, BP ko 120 over 80. 120 minus 80, 40 yung pulse pressure. So, ano ba ang significant ng pulse pressure? Pulse pressure refers to the compliance. Okay. So, increased pulse pressure, decreased compliance. Decreased pulse pressure, hindi man decreased, normal pulse pressure, increased compliance. Pulse pressure is also is the same as your stroke volume. So, if basically, pulse pressure, no, normal to high pulse pressure, increase yung stroke volume. Kaya hindi rin pwede mababang pulse pressure. Kasi pag mababang pulse pressure, ito yun, no, letter C. Bakit? Letter A, increase greater ejection fraction. Pag greater ejection fraction, stroke volume is mataas, di ba? Basically. So, mataas din yung pulse pressure. That's expected. I know to please. So, kung malakas yung contraction ng heart, tapos may vasodilation pa yung arterioles, so mataas yung cardiac output, probably because of the increased stroke volume, increase yung pulse pressure. Letter D, increased stroke volume, again, increased stroke volume, and then atherosclerotic pa yung aorta, definitely increase yung pulse pressure niya. Letter C is the one that is decreased pulse pressure. Kasi ibig sabihin, hindi maganda yung stroke volume ng heart, mababang pulse pressure. That's why, when you're taking BP, okay, 120 over 80 is okay. Pero, if you see a patient, ang BP niya is, 110 over 100, or 90 over 80, or 90 over 70, hindi tama yun, hindi maganda yun, no? The difference is only 20. That's not good. Usually, ang sabi niya, ang allowable is 30 yata eh. I forgot ano yung allowable. Pero at 20 difference, that's narrow pulse pressure or decreased pulse pressure. That's not also good. Baka most likely, yun nga, ito na, mahaba yung stroke volume mo. And patient will nahihilo, dehydrated, baka nagsusuka, marami na siyang blood loss, etc. So, yan, no? So, pulse pressure refers to the compliance of your arteries, okay? Usually, the normal pulse pressure is 40, approximately 30 to 40, and hindi pwedeng mataas yung pulse pressure, hindi rin pwedeng sobrang baba ng pulse pressure. That's why, us, young ones, pulse pressure natin, 40, 50, no? But if you take a blood pressure of your grandparents, anong BP nila? 150 over 70. Anong pulse pressure nun? 80. Napakataas nun. Kasi yung blood vessel na, it's already very stiff. Atherosclerotic na. Diba? Magugulat ako if the blood pressure of a senior is 120 over 80. Masyadong parang very young yung blood vessel niya, very compliant pa yung aorta pag sabihin. But normally, elderly or atherosclerotic, mataas na yung pulse pressure nila. Okay. Okay. Ito, gusto ko malagita anong result. This one is a very difficult question. Shown in the, maraming nahirapan dito. So, clumping of carotid arteries above carotid sinus result in. So, first, what is carotid sinus? Ano ang nakikita sa carotid sinus?
Baroreceptor.
Ano ang purpose ng baroreceptor? To regulate your
Blood pressure.
pressure. So, kung ang baroreceptor, ginalagalaw natin, or there's dilatation of your carotid sinus na stretch, ano ang nangyayari sa baroreceptor? Activate. Ano mangyayari sa BP at heart rate?
Pababa.
Baba. Pero kung ang baroreceptor hindi na-activate or ang ating carotid sinus are not distended, flatten sila, hindi sila na-stretch, hindi sila activated, ano mangyayari sa effect? Increase BP and increase heart rate because of the sympathetic. Okay, now, nangyari. Sige, dodrawing ako external carotid artery, internal carotid, saan pa ang carotid sinus? Nakalimutan ko na anatomy. Oh my gosh. Sa internal carotid, di ba? Sa C4. Sa yata Tama ba? No? Okay. Yan. O, di mo, anatomy question din siya. O, see? Relationship na ana and tissue, very important. Okay. So, kung clamp ko above the carotid sinus, pagka kukulay ha, dito ko ng clamp. Ano ang mangyayari sa carotid sinus?
Magsaswell po.
Ano ang mangyayari sa baroreceptor?
Activated po.
So, activate your cranial nerve 9, okay, or 10, goes to your cardiovascular medulla regulation system, or sa medulla, cardiovascular regulation system, activates your sympa or para?
Para po.
So, ano mangyayari sa BP at heart rate?
Decrease po.
So, letter D is the answer. Nafa-follow ba? Naiintindihan? Nakukuha? So, kung kinamp ko ang artery dito, baliktad naman. Kasi wala eh. So, ma-activate si sympathetic, si axillary region ng medulla, leading to increased BP and heart because of the sympathetic effect. So, yun siya. Yan So, clean up. Ayan, tama. Internal carotid. So, kung clean up ko above, mag-swell kasi blood cannot pass through. So, lolobo yung carotid sinus na i-stretch yung baroreceptors. Decrease heart rate. Diba? Kaya nga, diba yung sa isang experiment natin, or lab activity, when you try to massage the carotid sinus, heart rate goes down because of the parasympathetic effect. BP is expected to go down as well. Kaya pag taas ang heart rate, minamassage to. Basta walang stenosis, ha? Sa matanda, huwag niyong basta i-massage. Basta walang stenosis. Okay. What activity will decrease the venous return? So, okay. So, factors with si Doc Castillo discussed the factors that affect venous return. Increase and decrease, no? I think okay naman, 41%, answer letter A, kasi yun yung answer. The rest will increase venous return. When you jog, when you massage your calf muscles, okay, increase venous return. When you lie flat, increase venous return versus when you're standing up. When you hang upside down, baliktad ka, syempre tataas ang venous return. But when you strain hard, okay, constipated ka, anong mangyayari dyan is you increase the pressure in the abdomen. So, dahil mataas yung pressure sa abdomen, intra-abdominal pressure, Valsalva maneuver, okay, you impede the venous return. Kasi yung mga blood from the calf muscles, yung mga veins from the calf muscles, okay, venous blood, they cannot go up kasi mataas yung pressure sa tiyan mo. So, nai-impede yung venous return. Okay. So, my point here in this question is you have to know the different factors affecting the venous return. Blood volume, calf muscles contraction, sympathetic, or ano pa ba? Blood volume, I think yung talagang gusto kong i-point out doon. Hindi lang blood volume respiration, okay? Pressures, blah, blah, blah. What are the things that affects your venous return? And will it cause positive or negative? Dapat alam nyo. And then venous return will affect your end diastolic volume, which is correspond to your preload, afterload, or inotropy. Preload. Okay? Then, that will affect your stroke volume and then cardiac out. Okay. Okay, wala na akong oras. Okay, now, pwede magpa-compute. I think si Dr. Chuma to, no? Pwede. Sabi, gusto ko magpa-compute. Sige, compute. So here, compute the net driving force given the following pressure. So, gawin nyo, lahat, get the difference between your capillary hydrostatic pressure minus the interstitial hydrostatic pressure. Kasi negative 2 siya. So, 40 minus 2, minus negative 2. So, magiging positive. So, 42. So, you get 42 here. So, 20 minus 12. 8. Okay. So, 42 minus 8. 34. So, answer? Tama. So, letter C is the answer. Okay? So, huwag kayong magulat if there's some formula. So, ito yung another important concept that dapat nadalhin nyo siya sa second year. Okay? The difference in the pressure, capillary pressure, oncotic pressure, plasma oncotic, interstitial hydrostatic pressure, interstitial osmotic pressure. You have to know the formula. You have to know this because any derangement in this pressure will cause edema. And that's why there's a lot of causes of edema. Is it due to the capillary pressure? Is it due to the oncotic pressure? Is it due to the interstitial fluid pressure? Less of the time is due to this interstitial osmotic pressure. Okay, like this is an example. A patient has edema on the upper extremities due to a mass that compresses the superior vena cava, which best explains the development of edema. A, B, C, D. No, ang response sa mga estudyante natin, 45% got it correctly, letter A. Most of the time, and talaga yung answer na yung letter A, sa totoo lang. Maraming sakit that cause increased capillary hydrostatic pressure leading to edema. So, imagine if there's increased pressure here, more fluid goes out. More fluid goes out. Increased blood flow, more fluid goes out. That's why in active hyperemia, like anaphylaxis, diba, nagmamanas kasi there's increased blood flow, vasodilation, nagmamanas sila. Or if there's occlusion, kunyari, pulmonary embolism, DVT, okay, deep vein thrombosis, okay, because of obstruction here, na mas nagtatagal burst sa blood pooling here, there's a pressure, increased capillary pressure, increased to edema formation. Okay? Pero hindi lang sila ang cause ng edema, yung increased hydrostatic pressure. Meron din decreased oncotic pressure like malnourishment, meron din dahil sa nephrotic syndrome, meron din dahil sa severe liver disease, yung mga factors. Okay? Doc asking, why is increased interstitial oncotic pressure not the answer po? Normally, itong interstitial fluid oncotic pressure is low. Usually low yan. There's a mass. Okay, sorry So, superior vena cava, anatomy. So, kunyari, ito yung, brachiocephalic vein. Okay, BCV. Kunyari lang, BCV, brachiocephalic vein. Tapos ito yung superior vena cava mo. Kung may bukol dito, anong mangyayari sa outflow? Anong mangyayari sa exit point? Constricted. Ito yung venous constriction, no? So, if that happens, blood accumulates. So, babackflow yan, yung blood, hanggang pupunta dito sa iyong brachial veins, no? Or axillary veins. So, leading to increased capillary pressure. So, magmamana sila. So, yun yung root cause. Okay? So, yun yung root cause. Hindi yung letter C, increased interstitial oncotic pressure, parang, no, I don't see it, no, as the answer. Okay. Ibang usapan, kung patient have liver disease, at ang answer niya dyan, Ito na, letter B na. Okay. Okay. Okay, 32. A patient is experiencing chest pain due to decreased coronary blood flow. Which of the following can help quickly and temporarily relieve the patient's symptoms? I think marami ditong nagkamali. Okay. Yeah, most of you answered letter D, increased sympathetic stimulation. Ang ano kasi dito is which can help quickly and temporarily relieve the patient's symptom. Okay. Quickly. And definitely, you want the blood vessel to dilate to allow blood flow. That's why you want to increase nitric oxide. Kaso, decrease ka, so hindi answer. Long term, letter C, increase collateral vessel formation. Yan yung long term. Pero ang question kasi quickly and temporary relief. So it's B and D. And it's opposite. Increase sympathetic, increase heart rate. It's a decrease heart rate. The answer is letter B, decrease heart rate. Because of this. Now, if there is lack of blood supply, like there is a decreased blood flow, the demand is high. So what happened, the effect of it, bababa ang oxygen, the heart rate increases. Yan yung effect. Problema, pag mataas yung heart rate, tumataas yung demand. Tumataas yung contraction ng heart, tumataas yung demand. Tumataas yung stress, blah, blah, blah. We want the demand to decrease. So we want this one, pababain natin yan. And how do we do that? We give a medication that will decrease the heart rate. Example, beta blocker. That's why in patients with, one of the medication given in patient with coronary artery disease is beta blocker. To decrease heart rate so that the demand will decrease so that the patient will have relief of symptoms. Okay. When you go to second year, kaya nga importante ang physio papasok dito yung concepts, yung application nyo sa physio. Okay, now it makes sense why we give nitrites, we give beta blocker, we give calcium channel blocker, because calcium channel blocker will decrease contractility, beta blocker will decrease heart rate, it will decrease demand, thus restoring that balance between oxygen supply and demand, allowing patient with coronary artery disease to be okay. Okay? So, kaya nga, sasabi ko, importanteng alam yung concept moving forward. Okay. Now, 33, an acute increase in the blood pressure was observed in healthy person. In which organ will there be no or minimal change in blood flow? So, what is asking here is the autoregulation. Increased BP, pero no change in the blood flow. So, which of this organ have a high autoregulation factor? So, the answer here is letter A. Okay? Yeah. Naturo to ni Dr. Bartolome. Emphasize siya to. Kaya alam nyo rin to. In this lecture, you have to know the difference among the circulatory bed. Sino yung mataas yung autoregulatory period, or autoregulation, sino yung sino yung mataas yung metabolic control, sino yung mataas yung sympathetic control, sino yung nag-constrict pag mababa ang oxygen, pulmonary, sino yung, basically ganun. Okay. So also, discuss din niya yung different intrinsic regulation. How can an organ like your heart, brain, and your kidney maintain blood flow regardless of the BP or autoregulation? It's because of the intrinsic regulation such as your myogenic mechanism, tissue factors like the metabolic urine, you have to know that, it's going to be discussed, and the endothelial-derived factors. Now let's go to the altered pressure, the physiology in different altitude areas. So which of the following will decrease when acclimatizing in a high altitude area? So when you go in the high altitude area like in Mount Everest or Tibet region, so what will happen to the ventilation? Tataas kasi mababa ang oxygen sa high altitude area. So you need more oxygen kasi hypoxic ka. So you increase your respiratory rate. So letter A is that the answer. You increase the oxygen diffusion in the lungs. So hindi letter B. What will happen to the red blood cell production? It will increase kasi nga hypoxic ka, APO will be produced. How about letter C? Dahil hypoxic ka, will the hemoglobin be clingy with your oxygen or will it let go of your oxygen? Dapat, letter C. Kasi in high altitude area, tumataas din yung BPG mo. It will allow your hemoglobin to release the oxygen kasi kailangan ng tissue mo yung oxygen more than your hemoglobin. So letter C is the answer. This table, I got it from the BRS, Board Review Series. Okay. Ayan, shift to the right. Decrease the affinity. Increase erythropoietin, increase 2,3 BPG or DPG. Okay. Okay. Exercise physiology. So, which energy system will be utilized the most when a medical student sprints from first floor to sixth floor in 10 seconds? This is easy question dapat ha. Okay. Phosphocreatine. No explanation needed. Just know the comparison between the three energy systems. Aerobic, anaerobic, and phosphocreatine. Move na ako ha, to save time. Which is expected to decrease while running on a treadmill for 10 minutes. Bakit? Sino yung bababa dapat pag nagtatakbo ka na? Heart rate ba? Hindi. Dapat tumaas yung heart rate. BP ba? Hindi. Dapat tumaas yung BP mo. Pulse pressure, dapat tumaas din yan, di ba? Kasi nga, when your BP goes up, okay, from 120 over 80, naging 130 over 80, naging 140 over 80, pulse pressure also goes up, di ba? But you can look at the diastolic pressure. It's 80 or even sometimes bumababa siya to 70. And it represents your peripheral resistance. So it's actually letter D. Okay? Especially in a strenuous exercise, no? Pwedeng same or decrease. No, some of you may answer, di ba, Doc, dapat no change. O sige, among sa choices, choose the best answer. Sino dyan yung best answer? Definitely hindi pwedeng heart rate, hindi pwedeng bumaba yan. Definitely hindi pwedeng beeping, definitely hindi pwedeng letter C. So ano yung best answer? Letter D. So even though, some of my lectures sabi ko, usually TPR, same or decrease, diba? Same or decrease, siya yung best answer. Okay, ayun o. Vasodilation due to muscular effect, especially if you contract most of your muscles. Okay? Okay. Oops, before we proceed to the GIT, so that's your cardiovascular. So again, assess yourself sa LE3 kung kamusta kayo. Okay ba yung score nyo? Ganda ba? Let's have a 3-minute break. Painumin nyo lang ako ng tubig. If you have questions, put it in the chat box. Allow me just to drink water.